Hello, my dear students, and welcome back to another lecture series on the topic of statement and arguments. I hope all of you are doing well and your preparation for your competitive examination is going fine. We are here to assist you with a very important topic which is going to be there in your competitive examinations, which is statements and arguments. We have dedicated one full lecture series over the topic of statement and arguments so that the students can gain knowledgeable insights in regards to what exactly uh, is the concept behind the statements and arguments and how one has to approach these questions. What are the important tips and tricks that are utilized to solve the questions which is related to statements and arguments. So without wasting much any time, let's start our video and let's try to understand the concepts by solving some questions that will be there in this lecture series. And if you are new to this lecture session, then it is advisable that you kindly refer to our previous videos so that you can gain knowledgeable insight in regards to what exactly statements are and what exactly arguments are. We have already discussed it, so just we are not going to continue it again and again. So it is obviously advisable to all the students that if they are willing to understand the topic again, they can obviously refer to the previous video sessions where which you will get the information related to the concept of statements and arguments. Not only the concept but also the tips and the tricks, and the questions will also be there which will assist you in a much more better understanding about the statements and argument. In this lecture series, in this particular video, we are going to continue from the instance where we left in our previous video. We were discussing about important questions uh, that are often being asked in competitive examination, which is related to statements and arguments. And in the same manner, we are going to continue practicing those questions in our today's videos also. So, my dear students, without wasting any time, let's start this video. Disclaimer: the images used in our slide deck are for educational purposes only. We respect the intellectual property rights of the original creators and the owners of these images. If you are the owner of any of the images used in this deck and have any concern or issues, please contact us at sathi@iitk.ac.in and we shall remove the images. So, my dear students, I hope everybody is doing well and your preparation for competitive examination is going fine. And so, just the way we practicing statement and argument questions in our previous video, we are going to continue the same pattern in this lecture series also, in this particular video also. So, I would request you to kindly pay attention to whatsoever we are going to discuss in this statement and argument video lecture, because we are going to emphasize over the questions only and how to approach the questions. So the very first step, if we talk about approaching any questions which is related to statements and arguments, the first step, very first step of a student should take into consideration whenever they are solving questions related to statement and argument is to understand the question. Now, to understand the question, it is very important to read very carefully that what exactly the question is saying. The question in front of us it is suggesting a question. Okay. Don't get confused question. I would like to clarify here that question number 8 gives a statement in a form of a question which asks the users, the public, that should English be the medium of instructions for higher education in India. So the three things that we need to take into consideration is should English, so we are talking about word English, medium of instruction for higher education in India. So should English be the medium of instructions for higher education in India? The options, the arguments that has been provided. First argument says, yes, even in advanced countries like England and USA, the medium of English, a medium of instruction is English for higher education. Now, my dear student, as we have already discussed in our past videos, that whenever there is any argument, that argument which is talking about comparison from one thing to another, then that type of argument is considered to be a weak argument. So whenever there is a comparison between one thing, one country, one person, or one object with another, then we have to neglect it. Why? Because comparison cannot be the ground for a strong argument. And what we want to ensure whenever we are approaching any questions of statements and arguments, that the argument first should be complementing the statement, and second, it should be a strong argument. It should be based on facts. Now, this argument is comparing advanced countries like England and USA. The medium of instructions is English for higher education. But it failed to include other advanced countries like Japan, China, where the medium of instruction is not English. So this type of argument is not the correct argument. So we have to analyze, we have to understand. First, what we did, the very first step, what we did was to understand the question. So the first step in every time we are going to solve questions related to statement and argument is to understand the questions. After we have understood the question, that what exactly the question is saying, should English be the medium of instructions for higher education in India? Now we have understood. Higher education में जो माध्यम होना चाहिए पढ़ाने का, वो इंग्लिश होनी चाहिए, अंग्रेजी होनी चाहिए. उसका आर्ग्यूमेंट क्या दिया जा रहा है कि अच्छे जितनी भी एडवांस कंट्रीज है वहां पे इंग्लिश का ही प्रयोग करा जाता है एज अ मीडियम टू एजुकेट. बट दैट आर्ग्यूमेंट कैन नॉट बी टेकन एज अ स्ट्रॉन्ग आर्ग्यूमेंट. उस आर्ग्यूमेंट को हम स्ट्रॉन्ग आर्ग्यूमेंट नहीं कर सकते क्योंकि इट इज comparison. Comparison can never be a strong argument. First thing. Second thing, whenever the second argument says English is a much widely spoken language in the world. Now it is talking about something which can be proven, which can be cross verified, isn't it? That English is one of the most widely spoken language in the world. Yes, it is. And if you are pursuing higher education through this particular language, then it is going to be beneficial. So clearly the solution, what the solution is saying, clearly the pursuance of policy in India cannot be based on the pretext that it is followed in other advanced countries, because every country has its own environment, situation and resources. So argument 1 is weak. And clearly, English needs to be pursued in higher education because being widely spoken, it shall improve uniformity and prepare the students better. So argument 2 holds strong. That is why argument 2 holds strong. So my dear students, now you must be confused here. You must be feeling that, sir, first option, we understand that there was a comparison. Then you talked about argument which says that English is a much widely spoken language in the world. But there are other languages also which are widely spoken. Let's talk about Mandarin, Chinese language, which is being used a lot of places. That what exactly will assist us in understanding that, okay, this argument is a strong argument. I'll give you an example so that you can understand in a much better manner. There is a statement that is being given. I'm so sorry. The statement says, should smoking be banned in public? Okay, this is a question that has been put forward. Should smoking be banned in public? The first option, the first argument it is providing is that it is going to harm other through passive inhalation. This is first option. Second, people don't like the smell of cigarette. Now these are two options, two arguments that has been given to you. Okay, both are saying that yes, it should be banned. One is saying that it is going to cause passive inhalation. Because of passive inhalation, the other citizens or the other person who's not even smoking, he might also get chronic diseases. And at the same point of time, there is another argument which says that the smell of the cigarette is not liked by many. That second statement will never be able to have a strong argument because it is based on assumption. Okay, so my dear students, now for certain candidates, it might be a little bit confusing, but please bear with me. But I can assure you that the moment we are going to complete this whole lecture series, and if you are there with us till the end, you will be able to understand these topics in a very crystal clear and precise manner, because then you will have the instructions, you will have the concepts, and you will be able to analyze by yourself that how the statements are, how the arguments are weak arguments and how the arguments are strong arguments. Okay, and that is all we need to do whenever we are solving questions related to statements and arguments, my dear students. End of the story. We need to figure out which argument is a strong argument, which argument is a weak argument. Once it is done, 90% of the work is done. All you need to do is to fill up the OMR sheet or to tick mark the correct answer based on what you have figured out. And for that, we have to understand that whenever we are talking about a strong argument, it should be directly related to the statement. Now, this argument, even in advanced countries like England and USA, the medium of instruction is for English. But what if advanced countries like Japan and USA? Okay, now there is a comparison, first thing. So once we are comparing it with any of other objects, countries, etc., persons, that argument by itself becomes a weak argument, because your argument is based on a comparison and it cannot be given a strong base. And at the same point of time, it should be fact based. Now, if it is not fact based, now this first argument is looking as if it is a fact based answer, that yes, in countries like England and USA, but this is half fact. This is half fact. The full fact would have been, even in advanced country like England and USA, the medium of English is utilized and other countries still prefer their own languages. Getting my point? Because here, this was half fact that has been provided. So if the argument is based on the fact, then the fact should also be clearly and fully given. First thing. Second thing is, it should be logically flowing. Now, if you talk about the second argument, English is much widely spoken in the world. Therefore, English be the medium of instructions for higher education. Now you can see there is a relation, there is a clear relation that we can figure out, that since English is widely spoken language in the world, and if the medium of instruction for higher education in India will be English, it is going to be beneficial. It is going to provide uniformity. We won't have any sort of communication barriers whenever we are going to tackle anything beyond our country in itself. It is going to give us more exposure. Okay. Now, this I suppose you have understood, and you are pretty much clear that what will be the correct answer of this question. Now, my dear students, we are going to start practice questions. So practice questions in this particular lecture series is going to be a little bit different for all of you, because in this practice sessions, what we are going to do is we are going to take questions. I will give you 10 seconds, and you will try to solve the answers within 10 to 15 seconds. And then we will be discussing the solutions. So initially, we will be providing you assistance by giving you the solutions, but slowly and gradually, after the fifth questions, to be precise, you will not be able to see the solution until unless a certain time has already elapsed, and post that we will be discussing the solution. But before providing you the solution, it will be advised that the candidate try to solve the question by themselves, and after solving the question they should tick mark any of the options that is right now in front of you, which is saying that if only argument 1 is strong, if argument 2 is strong, either 1 or 2 is strong, neither 1 or 2 is strong, or both 1 or 2 are strong. So you have to mark the answers accordingly. For initial, just for your understanding, we are providing solutions the same manner we have provided in our exercises in this practice questions also. But post fifth question, we will be moving forward and we will be only providing you the questions and will then allotting you a certain time period to solve the question by yourself, and then only we will approach the solutions. This will ensure that the student is not only clear about the concept, but after practicing they will also figure out that where they are lagging, and during this lecture series that lag will also be removed. And that is what is my assurance to you all. Whenever you are going to solve statements and arguments, you will never feel any um, problem, any kind of dilemma, and you will be clear that what has to be the correct approach and what will be the correct answer. So without wasting any time, my dear students, let's continue and let's try to do the practice sessions. I am very much excited. I hope you all are, because these practice questions are going to assist you in mastering statements and arguments. So please keep in mind the options, option number A, B, C, D, and E. It is almost the same options that we utilized in our previous video. So just have to remember the sequence A, B, C, D, and E. What does it says? And the first question with the solution for you is in front of you. Should there be a ban on product advertising? Now, should there be a ban? So now the first approach, again, I would like to ask you, what is the first approach? Understand the question. Understand the question. So question says, should there be a ban on product advertising? Should there be ban on product advertising? This is saying that should we ban product advertising? The options are no. Argument first is saying no. It is an age of advertising. Unless your advertisement is better than your competitors, the product will not be sold. Now again, there is a what? There is what? There is a comparison. There is a comparison. Now, second argument says the money spent on advertising is very huge and inflates the cost of the product. Now, this statement, this was a ban on product advertising. It is not, you don't have to feel like that, okay, if the product advertising will be stopped, then how will be the people be known that what exactly the product is, what exactly is happening. But you need to understand the argument that is given behind it. Although some of you might feel like that, no sir, we should not be banning the advertising. Correct. I personally will also never recommend that the product advertising be banned, because how come the normal layman or a citizen or a person who is watching anything or wants to purchase anything, how will he be known that okay, this type of product is also available? Product advertising is only no assisting the people to know that what exactly our product is. But at the same point of time, when I read this argument, yes, the first argument तो खुद ब खुद गलत हो गया. क्यों गलत हुआ? I suppose my dear students has understood, because there is a comparison. Unless your advertisement is better than your competitors, the product will not be sold. It is not the correct argument, because even if there are examples that even if if there is no advertisements, then also the products might get sold. Above that, if there is a comparison, and we have already discussed that whenever there is a comparison, we will not take into consideration that particular argument. So this particularly considered to be the wrong argument. First, it cannot be taken into consideration. The money spent on advertising is very huge. If this argument would have been ended till here, this argument would have also been neglected. But now, they see the logical inference that it is being following. It is saying that it inflates the cost of the product. It is very true that whatever you are getting for maybe 10 rupees, 15 rupees, you get it for instead of 10, you get it for 15, or instead of 15, you get it for 20 because of the advertisements. The company, whomsoever are manufacturing the products, when they are investing a lot of amount, huge amount for advertisement, obviously from whom they are going to get that amount back? It is the customers only. So if the product advertisement be banned, the inflation of the cost of the product will be reduced and the product will become cheaper. So this is the argument which it is following. So this argument is a strong argument, although the statement in itself is can be considered as a statement which is a little bit different, but there are discussions that takes place for future prospects also. So let's imagine there is a cabinet ministry set up whom are discussing that because of the products advertisements, there is a lot of inflations in the products. An item which manufacturing value is 10 rupees is being sold at 120, 130 just because of advertising. So if we'll ban it, the inflation of the cost of the product will reduce. And that argument can be considered to be a correct argument. So my dear students, can you please understand, if you are able to infer from my side, first argument, I suppose everybody is able to understand that what exactly the problem was, that there was a comparison. There was a comparison and the product will not be sold. It cannot be given. There is no empirical data which can showcase that if there is no advertisement, then the product will not be sold. And the second option which says that yes, the money spent on advertising is very huge and it's inflation and it inflates the cost of the price. Great argument. And therefore, argument 2 is obviously strong. Let's try to see the solution. Argument talks about competition, but does not give a valid reason why advertising is essential for a product's success. It only assumes. Assume means assumptions. And assumptions we will never take into consideration. What are the two things that we have learned in this particular video that we don't need to take into consideration? First is comparison and second is assumption. Okay, my dear students, please take note of this. It is very important for you that we will never take into consideration those arguments where comparison is there, and second, where assumptions are there. And the second statement obviously is correct, that we have already studied, is to discuss the economic impact of advertisement, that is inflation of the product's price due to heavy spending on advertisement, which is relevant and practical concern. Therefore, only second argument is correct. I suppose you were able to understand that how we are analyzing the statement and then figuring out whether the arguments are following with it or not, my dear students. Let's solve another question. And please make sure we have learned two things. In arguments, whenever there is a comparison, whenever there is an emotions, we are not going to take that as a strong argument, but rather as a weak argument. Okay. Now, should a total ban be put on trapping wild animals? Now, there is a ban. Earlier, there was a ban on advertisement. Now, there is a ban on trapping wild animals. Now, let's see that what is the argument which is given. It is saying trappers are making a lot of money. Trappers are making a lot of money. So just because they are making a lot of money, trapping wild animals should be bad. But what if the trappers are if the first understand the question, our approach is first understand the question. Should a total ban be put on trapping what type of animals? Wild animals. Wild animals trapping means that the animals which are wild, which are available in jungle and which are not domestic, mean which are not pets. Here we are not talking about dogs, not cats, not we are talking about lion, we are talking about hippopotamus, we are talking about elephants. So argument one is weak because making money does not justify the act of trapping wild animals. It lack any reasoning related to ethical environment or wildlife protection. अगर ये चीज होती wildlife protection के लिए, should there be a ban because of the wildlife protection trapping people? Often what they do is they poach wild animals, and what they do is they use them for their own benefit. That is correct. Trappers are making a lot of money. But this particular statement is only justifying about trapping wild animals and making money. It is lacking the reason of ethical, environment and wildlife protection. So if the trappers are making money in this manner, they will make money in another manner. But how come is it going to assist the wildlife? How come is it going to assist the society at large? It is not. Therefore, the first argument is not going to stand strong. Bans on hunting and trapping are not effective. Now, this is a hypothetical statement which has no empirical data. Argument 2 is also weak because it does not provide a reason why it is ineffective. As I told you, it is a personal thought. It is an assumption, and assumptions are not to be taken into consideration, my dear students, without supporting evidence. Therefore, neither one nor true is strong in relation to question number 2. I suppose you have understood that the difference in one particular statement where the ban was earlier, there was a ban on product advertisement. Now there is a ban on trapping wildlife. Just by changing the arguments, the whole answer got changed. So you have to apply your mind just by feeling that, okay, sir, there will be a certain list of tricks or tips that we will remember, or we can just memorize, and we'll go to the competitive examinations and we will just recall those tricks and we will solve the answer. No, it's not going to happen. Trust me, it's not going to happen. You have to practice it again and again, trying to understand that what exactly the statement is saying, what exactly the argument is saying. Trappers are making a lot of money. My students might get confused, feeling that, sir, this can be a good reason because trappers are people who are, no, they are doing bad thing. So if we are going to ban trapping wild animals, so if we are going to stop trapping wild animals, then the trappers will obviously not be able to make money. But their work is also important. Just assume any wild animal comes into the city, into your city. Won't they be assisting you in getting getting this particular problem evicted? Yes. So therefore, this argument itself becomes a very weak argument. There is no logical inference that is being followed, and comparing it with making money does not justify the act of trapping wild animals. Therefore, both the arguments are not strong. Please check the relevancy is very important. So the things that we are going to take forward with us in this lecture series is, first, in this particular video is, first, we are not going to assume, we are not going to compare, we are not going to move forward with the argument until unless it is relevant. So first argument is not even relevant to the statement that is provided. If it would have been provided in relations to environment, wildlife protection, then we would have considered. But this argument in itself is not relevant. There is no way it has been mentioned that total ban be put on trapping wild animals. So it is talking, what is the statement talking about? Talking about ban on trapping wild animals. Argument: trappers are making a lot of money. Is there any linkage? Only trappers. So trappers are making a lot of money. Is it clear that trappers only from trapping wild animals are making a lot of money? There are other reasons also. Is there any logical data which can infer that just by banning trapping of wild animals, trappers will now they will get adversely affect? And even if it gets adversely affect, what is the point of ban? Just to harm a particular sect of people? I don't feel like that can be an argument. It can be an argument. Just you by yourself tell me. Can it be an argument to defy somebody, or just because they are making a lot of money, so we should pressurize them, we should put a ban over trapping wildlife? No, it obviously not. So relevancy is also very important. You have to always ask yourself if the argument is addressing the issue by the statement. Discard argument that deviate from the statement's topics or are based on personal opinions. So this is also based on personal opinions. So my dear students, all you need to remember in this particular lecture series is, particular lecture video is, first thing is, we are not going to assume, we are not going to compare, we are not going to deviate from the topic that has been provided. We are going to stick to the argument that has been given, the statement that has been given, and we will check the relevancy from the argument that has been provided. If they are not relevant, then we will discard them with immediate effect. I hope you have keep all these points in hand whenever you are writing it or whenever you're listening to it. Please make sure that these points are going to be very much helpful for you. As I told you in our previous lecture series, when we were talking about syllogism, there was a technique which we have to just remember, and we can solve any syllogism that would be put up in front of us, because there were certain rules that needs to be followed. But when we talk about statement and arguments, there is no general rules or do's and don'ts which we have to follow particularly. Every statement and argument has to be cross-verified, has to be analyzed, and then only we'll have to figure it out whether the answer is correct or not. So my dear student, I would request you to keep a note of whatsoever we are studying so far, because all these are going to be very much helpful for you in understanding statements and arguments and approaching the questions in a very crisp, clear, and precise manner. With this, I would like to end today's video, and we will continue solving the questions in our upcoming videos as well. But because of the time constraint, we are ending this video for till this point itself. I hope you have gained knowledgeable insights about statements and arguments from this lecture series also. And we will continue providing you assistance in regards to the same topic in our upcoming videos also. Okay, my dear students, again, I would like to wish you the very best of luck for your preparation of your examination. And I would request you to kindly revise whatsoever we have studied, so that you become more acquainted to the concept, and you apply the things that we are discussing so far. We've like assumptions. We have to remove assumptions. We have to remove comparisons. We have to not get deviated from the statement. So all these things have to be kept in mind, my dear students. With this, thank you so much, my dear students. Take care, and let's meet in another video.